Hey everyone! Isekai'd here, and today I am back for another podcast episode of Anime vs. Reality. Before we get into that though, I do have a birthday to mention that happened recently. And that's Kurumi Ebisawaza from Gakugarashi, and her birthday was on the 7th, 2 days ago. That's not the only thing I have for today. I have something special. I love sort of like doing stuff based on the anime, and at the moment I've been working on a project. I've been working on this with the help from some friends. Although, I think what's going to happen with the ears is that the clay wasn't working that well. So what I might end up doing is I'm going to replace these with the foam you use to hold pots in. And hopefully that will work. But it looks good so far. Anyways. Oh, what? Should I just have that there, just like in the corner? People will be like, what the heck is that? And then they will see, but if they didn't see the start of the episode, or if they did, they'll just be like, why is that in frame? But it's a nice little detail. Anyways, it's about time I got to the anime, and this is going to be different. Very different. I'm going to be doing 13 episodes and 12 main episodes plus an OVA for the next 5 weeks. And that's mainly because I don't want to be here for the next, like, 3 months just covering this podcast and just covering this anime. So, we better get this kick started, because 13 episodes is a lot more than 4. Starting off with our first episode. As a biker races down a highway in Tokyo, the narrator, Mikado Rugamine, talks about something that changed his life. Something strange, but at the same time, something everyone experiences. He asks us not to laugh at him because he's never left his hometown on school trips. And as of April, he'll be attending Durarara Academy in East Ikeburo. I want to mention now, Durarara Academy actually makes appearances in other anime, like, I think D. Gray Man or something like that. But I digress, we gotta keep going here. His best friend, Masaomi Kida, wanted Mikado to come to school, or come to Tokyo for schooling, despite his parents wanting him to go to a public school. Apart from changing his appearance, which would happen over the time, Kida hasn't changed much from their elementary days, including his mediocre jokes. And my ability to read is just wow. Kida asks Mikado where he wants to go, and is surprised he wants to speedrun his way to Sunshine 60, which is an actual street in Japan. Like, they use a lot of actual locations in this anime. Speaking of the anime, it transitions to a chat room between Taro Taro, Tanaka, and Seton, where Taro says he's moving to Ikebukuro tomorrow, before changing back over to Mikado and Kida. Mikado is amazed by all the sights they had only seen on the internet, saying it's cooler than Kamisakura Machiginsa, which is a natural location in Japan. It's, wow. a mouthful of a name. Making Kida joke about taking him to Shibuya or a horse race. Kida talks about how gang-related activity has been on the decline recently, but still to be careful with plenty of dangerous people still around. As Kida introduces Mikado to the Sunshine 60 Street, a jumper screen plays moments from Bakuno, another anime based on a manga by the same creator. And this is where the this is the start of the weirdness that I'm gonna be calling, that I want to call the multiverse of anime, like the anime multiverse. But Bakuno is a much weirder territory because it's in the same universe, but there's also episodes for it in Durarara. Mikado also walks right into a cardboard cutout of Hollow from Spice Wolf. I have my own little Hollow. Oh. I have my own little Hollow that just sits on one of my speakers. From behind the Hollow cardboard cutout, and that's Hollow spelt H-O-L-O. Don't get confused with Hollow. We have two new characters to add to our list that just so happen to know Kida. Erika Karisawa and Walker Yumasaki. Along with their two friends that are over in a van. Sorry for the pause. My brain was focused on like getting a mouse on so I can just hold the down key and scroll. These two friends are Saburo Togusa and Kohei Kadoda. Erika and Walker don't believe Mikado's name is real when he mentions it, believing it to be a pseudonym or that he's on the radio. Turns out the two were buying the new pocket editions from Dengeki Bungo, getting 30 in total, which if I remember correctly, is actually, it's not a parody, it's an actual thing. Like the actual product name. Or a company name, I mean. And taking the Hollow cutout to the van, Kida continues the tour for Mikado, with him saying they're weird but nice. Yes, that's putting it lightly. Passed by another non-grade character, the character shifts to her and another guy talking on the phone to some creeps planning to drug and kidnap her. Back in the chat room, because we're jumping all over this anime, another online chatter, Kanra, joins the conversation and is looking forward to meeting Taro in Tokyo before transitioning into the topic of people meeting online to commit seppuku. Then missing cases. Yes. This is the first storyline. Please take what I say with a massive grain of salt when I talk about themes like that. With the kidnapping plot, the girl is introduced as Miss Magenta and the man is introduced as Mr. Nakura. Heading into an alley together, Nakura and Mikura tells Magenta there are other people waiting for them to arrive, tracking her into the van, unaware that someone was watching the entire time. The entire walk, Kita continues chatting away, so we're back over with Mikado and Kita. Which seems to tire Mikado out along with all the walking. Mikado's attention is caught by a black chef passing out flyers to customers, caught in trying to figure out how to not be racist by accident. Kita knows this guy as well as Semyon or Simon Brezhnev, having to turn down an offer of sushi due to the lack of money. When asked about Simon, Kita explains that he's a Russian of African descent. That makes... okay. And the sushi place he works at is owned by a Russian. So we already got Russians in this story. I wonder how they're going to play into the plot. Kita warns Mikado not to make an enemy of Simon, and was about to warn about another enemy when the two of them see a flying vending machine, courtesy of Shizuo Hiwajima. In a parking lot with the kidnappers, they're stuck waiting for the higher-ups to show up to take Magenta and have a smoke. The classroom is and meanwhile, the chat room is abuzz about the black bike monster that hangs around Shinjuku and Ikebukuro that goes around without headlights on. Very terrifying. That very bike shows up in the parking lot where human traffickers are waiting, taking out hoodie guy in one strike with the front wheel. It's just like, damn. like pull a wheelie and just go. Nakura manages to tase the biker, but they recover quickly to take Nakura out from behind single-handedly. Jacket guy tries to get away in the van and sees the shadow of the bike take the form of a horse, which terrifies him. Slamming the brakes works to stop the biker with a crash momentarily, only to reveal the biker has no head. Without the helmet, the biker pulls out a giant black scythe to strike down Jacket guy. Mikado, getting back to the lighter stuff, Mikado asks if there's other people he should avoid, and Kita mentions Izuya Orihara, but he mostly hangs out in Shinjuku. Kita also adds to avoid getting involved with a group called the Dollars, which he doesn't know that much about. Following Kita down another street, Mikado walks straight into a girl with a particular neck scar. Might want to keep that in mind. Hearing the black bike, Kita runs towards the source of the sound, and both of them see the urban legend zipping by. Nikita realizes he was trembling in the moment, but not out of fear. He was moved by getting to experience something unique. And that is the first episode. We gotta keep going. Back at Rara Academy, Mikado and his classmates sit through the opening ceremony with the speakers talking about Japan's low birth rate and the money gap between people, which is an odd thing to talk about at an opening ceremony. Aren't these like teenagers? I guess it sort of makes sense because when this was made, the age of consent was 13 back then. I'm glad they raised it to 16. During the ceremony, one teacher proves himself to be a creep, checking out the female students. Of course. The current narrator focuses on the important characters who are Mikado, Kida, Anri Sanahara, who the narrator describes as an aloof girl, and Ryo Kamichika, who is the girl that was kidnapped last night. She was Miss Magenta. Another character by the name of Seiji Yagiri arrives late to class, while Mika Harima is 100% absent, just not present. Seiji says he won't take a seat and won't be coming back to school again, even though he was only late. Then he's just gone. He just leaves. The narrator says that Ryo should have died 2 days ago before going into her backstory of how she has an ordinary life. That's until a letter arrived when she became a middle school student that led to her discovery of her father cheating on her mother. Oh, that's not good. Ryo endured the grossness she felt watching her parents interacting, knowing the truth, before deciding to reveal the truth to her mum. However, nothing changed, leading to her thoughts of hopefully getting Isekai'd as she jumped off the roof. The person who saw the kidnapping was watching and getting emotionally manipulated by Mr. Mikura's lies. The night she was kidnapped, the person who saw the kidnapping was watching the entire time. It turns out that the biker was there on a job, not just random vigilism, as per the witness's request. Interesting. Meanwhile, Shizuo's vending machine chucking is due to him getting peeved over the lack of aim in the time, which even the biker sees from the road. It's like, it just goes, wee! After taking out Jacket Guy, the biker releases Ryo from her duct tape bonds and takes her to a special location. So, yeah, this anime is very non-linear. So, a lot of my notes are very non-linear as well. Ryo's time on the biker's bike, that sometimes whinnied like a horse, affected her thoughts on life slightly. Arriving at the special location, the biker types that someone is waiting for her on the roof, the witness to her kidnapping, who says his name is Nakura. This Nakura, the witness to everything, was the orchestrator of her kidnapping and her rescue, all put together to see her reaction. It's like, you're a psychopath! That's what I would be saying. He explains why he did everything, putting it simply that he likes humans to avoid sounding philosophical. What? Taking Ryo to the building's edge, Nakura shows her the blood splotch of where many have jumped to say she's not special. He goes over to trying to slap him and catches her before she falls to the ground, pulling her back from the edge and saying her behavior is boring. In the end, she did jump to her death, only be saved by the biker using her shadows. That intervention and showing of care from the biker, along with typing the world isn't as bad as she thinks, turned her away from those thoughts and stopped seeing everything as bad. At the end of the school day, Mikado and Kida see Anri and Seiji. So this is back when, during the day the episode started. And they see Anri and Seiji arguing about his decision to leave school only after only his first day in school. But Kida can only think about himself. He really likes thinking with his second brain. Nakura talks to the biker about saving Ryo from death. and she asks if he's responsible for the other jumpers, and he says he's just an info dealer. I have nothing to do with this. It's their choice if they want to jump. Which, no, that's not how that works, buddy. Moving into episode 3. Simon continues his work of trying to bring customers into the Russian sushi restaurant, saying it's good and cheap. Two random ladies approach Simon and ask if he speaks Russian, and when he does, they ask directions to a location, tell him, and he's like, "Come back if you want sushi." Later on, basically. Provided the narration for our next focus of characters, this episode is about two criminals that came to Ikebukuro looking for something. In class, the students chose Kanemura Kuzuhara to be the cleanup committee, Nishisaki Yamasaki to the health committee, and Asakura Tsuchida to the discipline committee. All of which, this is irrelevant. I just did my extra research. I did extra research just to be able to get that detail. Ari puts a hand up to be the class representative, right before Mikado does it himself. Mikado notices Ari staring right at him. So he puts his hand up to be the male class representative. After class, Ari sees Mr. Perv and tells Mikado she has other stuff to attend to before running off. Yep, I did call this teacher Mr. Perv. Kita believes Mikado's action to be class rep is to be close to Ari because he has a crush on her. Before shutting down Mikado's hope for love to be hyperactive to random women on the street of any age. It's like, bruh. He really does just think with his second brain. One of the random high school girls he hits on mentions how their friend Yumi's boyfriend is part of the Dollars. Narrator Simon talks about how the color gangs of Ikebukuro wear a specific color to denote which gang they are in. However, the Dollars have no color to represent them and communicate through their private website. On Mikado's chat room, Kara mentions that the Dollars might be getting involved with the Chinese mafia, and the Yakuza guy was stabbed by them. Some posters on a wall display. So, yeah, it really just jumps from chat room to story and all that. Some posters on the wall display the anime Bakuno, Sensorol, and Hellgirl. I just know that as Kita and Mikado end up running into Erika, Walker, and Kohei and get asked if they want to go to Torano Ana together to meet Suji Yasuda. I did not do any research on that. I think it's like a store, and Suji's like a voice actor or something. Going back to the chat room though, Seton wonders if the Dollars really exist. Which is funny because it's on a chat room on the Dollars website. While presently in the real world, Kita references Shakugan Noshana's Flame Haze, and Erika references Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan's OP. Mikahei asks why Mikado is so curious about the dollars and to avoid them at all costs. Meanwhile, Shizuo and his friend think about getting lunch when the black biker zooms by, and Shizuo notes she's working hard. Anri recognizes the female criminal as Mika Harima, only to be wrong because she has a different face, and runs away into gang territory. Meanwhile, Kida is still hitting on random women, while Nakura is watching Mikado and Kida. Someone says that Mikado wanted to change, feeling like something is going to happen in Ikebukuro, but seemingly the only thing waiting for him is the city's darkness. Which isn't helped by Kida's over dramatics and misassumptions about Mikado. It's like, dude, sometimes the guy just doesn't want to be involved in your shenanigans. Mikado's attention is caught by the Angel Girls bullying Anri, and they have Kyoko's boyfriend, Hiroshimi, who is also part of the dollars, there with them. Thinking of a way to get Anri to safety, he's surprised to see Nakura looming over them, watching the situation too. Nakura walks Mikado right into the situation and outright says that bullying isn't cool. A brown angel, Kyoko, calls Nakura a geezer, despite him only being 23, and stating he doesn't care what happens to her. With a swiftness no one sees, he cuts Kyoko's bag and crushes her phone by stomping on it and laughing. Kyoko calls on Twitchy Fingers Hiroshi to use the power of his crotch to win a fight against Nakura, only get a middle-aged man haircut courtesy of Nakura's fast-played skill. The fact that I wrote that as a sentence is... Nakura, or real name Izuya Orihara, is proud to see Mikado try to save Anri from the bullies, and reveals he knows Kida, congratulating them on getting into Raira Academy. Izuya is in Ikebukuro to meet Mikado when a trash can is suddenly thrown into him from stage right. Enter stage right! Shizuo warned Izuya about coming to Ikebukuro again, but it's not because of the crime Izuya pinned on Shizuo. He just wants to beat Izuya up. It's like, it's a feud that's just fueled by violence. Joining the fray, the two are surrounded by the dollars until they realize Shizuo is involved, which invokes one of them into attacking Shizuo's head. In response to this action, Shizuo punches the guy so hard, he flies further than the clothes he was wearing, except for the underwear, the socks, and one shoe. Literally punched him out of his clothes. Like, that's an impressive trick shot. Despite Shizuo being one man against an entire gang, the winner ends up being Shizuo, with Izuya slipping away, and Simon catching the vending machine thrown at Izuya. Simon just happened to be in the area making a food delivery to a regular customer on the top floor, and he just drops it, and it's just like, boom! Caught. With Simon able to catch Shizuo's punches, Mikado escapes with Anri and abandons Kida on the sidelines of the fight. Wow, what a gentleman. Well, also, what a gentleman. Mikado tries to take the opportunity to confess his feelings and start his new adventure, only for her to thank him and leave. The male criminal, Seiji, finds Mika on a bridge and calls her my love. Happy to have found her. News spreads fast about the fight between Shizuo and the dollars, but Mikado believes they were dollars imposters. Okay, interesting. Shizuo doesn't even know why Izia came to Ikebukuro today. While Izia skips along reading Mikado's info that reveals his father, Tetsuya, has an annual income of 4.5 million yen, and that Mikado's birthday is March 21st. Add it to the calendar. Moving into episode 4, someone with a camera goes around interviewing random people about the black biker, with someone showing a photo of they got of her, and another person pretending to be her as a joke. In the classroom, Seton doesn't believe the black biker is headless, saying it's just ill-tempered gossip. The cameraman knows that those not willing to talk about the black biker know more than they say, just like Rio shows. Going from cameraman to narrator, Shinra Kishitani intends to explain everything he knows about the Headless Rider. Shinra is an underground physician for Ikebukuro, or more accurately, a black market doctor, who treats injuries from illegal weapons and does cosmetic surgery on those needing a new face for less legal reasons. But the most important thing of all is that he lives with the Headless Rider, Selty Sturluson. Based on Selty's annoyed behaviour, Shinra says she might need calcium, but doesn't know where her brain is, so she might not need calcium. He follows up by asking how she sees the world without eyes, but even she can't explain how it works. Shinra's voiceover explains that even though Selty doesn't have a head, she can hear, smell, and see, and her vision is slightly broader than humans. His hypothesis is that Selty's substance from her body picks up information around her and tells her what she wants to know. And wants to know what a Dullahan like her thinks is valuable in the world. Selty goes to Shinra directly to tell her about completing Izia's job and saving Rio from death, and Izia's question about Dullahans and how he seems to know one is in Japan. Searching for the caricature artist that mentioned her to Izia, while Shinra talks about the Dullahan. Oh, yes, so Selty's searching for the caricature artist. Shinra's looking for him. Shinra is talking about like the Dullahan from Celtic lore. According to the lore, if you open the door for a Dullahan, you're doused with blood from a wash basket and die. Oh, that'd be a way to go. Selty is in Ikebukuro due to losing her head 20 years ago, which caused some memory and personality loss, and her searching for her head. Sensing her head was on a ship and heading to Japan, she started away on the ship and left Ireland. To get her horse onto the boat as well, she found the bike she uses now to ride around Japan. Turns out that Shizuo knows the caricature artist Izio was talking about taking Selty to him. Oh, so Selty was the one searching for him. The two talked to the caricature artist about the Dullahan he saw and how it lost its head, but he just meant it had no head for him to draw. When he saw the Dullahan when he was younger, he went to the pub to confirm it was a Dullahan. Someone commissioned an art piece from the caricature artist 2 days ago, saying the picture was perfect without a head. Celtic knows that the guy saw him all that time ago, but doesn't know what she was doing at the time. Shinra suggests giving up searching for a head, wanting to hang out with her, but she doesn't want to give up. Why would she? Shinra continues the story of Celti's journey to Japan, realizing her appearance will stand out, and it's also the first time Shinra saw Celti. He told his father, Shingen, about Celti being in the cargo hold, and with his doctor's curiosity, Celti assented to one bit of surgery for a place to stay. Since human anesthesia doesn't work on her, Celti had to suffer all the pain of the surgery, so that Shingen can learn that her organs only keep the form of a human, but serve no function. So she doesn't need food, at least. Shingen also decides that Celti is a perfect model for young Shinra to learn how to be a surgeon, since she can't really die, so... Oh, she just became like the most unwilling... Oh, she just became like the #1 test subject. Okay. Shinra wonders what will happen when Celti finds her head, and how she will change, only to be interrupted by Celti, who's trying to sleep. The person that commissioned the art piece from the caricature artist was Shinra himself, even snatching away the drawing when the artist tries to add the head. Not weird at all. Moving on up to episode 5. Celti follows the guy with a briefcase to a dead-end alley, but a simple retrieval ends up with her arm stabbed through by a katana from someone with red eyes. That person also cuts the helmet from body, and before running off, and Celti heard a voice from her wound, calling her a monster. She's actually scared of this person, wondering if they're an alien, but Shinra thinks it's a joke. Kida and Mikado happen to be around when the guy runs by, saying there's a monster, so they both run to the situation. It's like, yes, monster, run, do it, no, wait for it. Kida narrates that the city is apparently composed of jokes, caprices, and coincidences. In the chat room, a new member goes off in fast messages about humans, repeated about hope, love, and strength. Kida proves he's worse than Ruji Wataru from Your Lie in April by narrating he's fallen in love with 37 girls at first sight, and he's walking home with Anri, one of his top 5. Brother, no. But Mikado is there too, so phew. But at least Mikado is there just to stop any potential bad situations. Annoyed with what happened at the fight, Kida asks Anri to go out with him, even getting on one knee like it's a marriage he's talking about. When Mikado tells Anri to ignore him, Kida goes full cat on him for a tackle, allowing Anri to sneak in a gay joke. I love it when there's just a sudden gay joke out of nowhere. For Kida to tell his story, he takes us back to Seji's announcement of not returning to school after arriving late. Mikado told Kida that the world is full of different types of people. Even when Anri is trying to stop Seiji from leaving school, all Kida can focus on is Anri, putting her in his top 5 potential girlfriends. Anri, meanwhile, is stuck dealing with Mr. Creep. who's definitely trying to become her confidant on issues troubling her in order to boink boink. Changing the topic to Mika, Mr. Creep mentions that she and Ari went to the same middle school and that Mrs. Saito insisted they must be together. Luckily, Kida's over-imagination actually hits the nail on the head and saves Ari from Mr. Creep, real name Mr. Nezujima. Unfortunately, Kida's intelligence is lower than his imagination, allowing Mr. Nezujima to brush off the accidental allegation. Kida makes sure to be spreading rumors about Mr. Nezujima's schnecksel harassment of Ari, causing him to trip over a bucket and mop. What a fool. While Ari, Kida, and Mikado enjoy the ice creams that make up Neapolitan, and Kida shows his true intelligence by warning Ari about Nesujima, who did date a student named Haruna Neyakawa. He does slip back into his usual lovey-dovey man shtick just as quickly when Mikado says the wrong thing, while also showing his ability to not get a brain freeze from eating most of an ice cream. Just Mikado manages to figure out that those angel girls bullying her were from her middle school based on the conversation he overheard. Apparently, Mika hasn't been home once since before opening ceremonies at Raira. Mika had apparently contacted her home, and Anri to say she was going on a trip to heal her broken heart. Whatever that means. Anri has an idea on what happened to Mika, asking the boys to listen to her without freaking out, which they casually agree to. She thinks Mika is a stalker, and Kida adds that she went on her trip after being dumped by Seiji. So, it's sorta true? Mikado asks if Mika was a close friend of Ari, and she says she got through a lot of things with Mika's help, and that they were always together. And Kida realizes Mika is about to say something he won't be able to take back, but is surprised when Anri says it first. It's like, huh? Anri's choice to be class rep was fueled by Mika's want to be class rep, doing it in her stead, feeling like cheating, making it feel like it's cheating to pass her. Mikado says it's cheating if you tell others about it, that it sounds like she wants someone to forgive her. Somewhere else in Ikebukuro, writer Shuji Niyakawa interviews the Angel Girls about who's the strongest in Ikebukuro. They argue between Celty, the Slasher, and the Dollars as the strongest. Back over with Mikado. Mikado is stuck thinking that Seiji is with Mika, but Kida tells him to leave it be and not worry. Unbelievably, Kida was depressed before Mikado showed up to live in Ikebukuro, making it through the day thanks to the people around him. And because Mikado is so new to Ikebukuro, Kida tries to be around as often as possible to protect him from the dangers of the city, like how he fell for it once himself. Oh my gosh, this episode just keeps going. The Slasher attacks another guy out of nowhere, just avoiding police detection, all while Saika goes on another rant, this time about Mother. Mikado notes that the kanji for Mother is haha, making Saika seem like a spam troll. Shinra believes it might be Saika, as in property, but his main focus is a job for Celty to do, which is the briefcase retrieval job. He does warn stealthily about how the slasher has been active recently, which is also brought up again to Shuji by some guys that say they just inflict wounds, then leave. Interesting. The $3 members is interview. The $3 members Shuji is interviewing now discuss between Simon, Izia, and Shizuo as the strongest of Ikebukuro. Another group of interviewees say that the strongest color gain are the dollars despite not having a color. And if they are talking about the color gains, it's between the yellow scarves and the blue squares. There's a lot of nuance to this one question. The fan group have dinner at Russian Sushi and talk about the yellow scarves, even if Erika gets his name wrong and Kohei gets angry, making them reference Hermes from Kino's Journey. So they get Kohei's name wrong a lot, or basically through the entire anime. Kida asks the fan group about the dollars, saying he wants to stop Mikado from joining them because he can't ask anyone else. Speaking of Mikado, he sees Seiji with someone who can only assume is Mika following them. Kida sees Mikado being chased by two suits, trying to follow, but gets held up by the yellow scarves. Mikado catches up, only to find out that Seiji is not with Mika, curious as to who he is with, before chasing after Kida to save from the yellow scarves. Luckily for them, the slasher's attention is caught on the yellow scarves members, which ends up with some blood spray on the wall. Ooh, that's what a way to go, bro. Izzy visits his friend in hospital and asks if her boyfriend has visited her recently. But he only visits sometimes. A photo on her phone reveals that her boyfriend is none other than Playboy Kida. So the bastard is lad. Suji gets home and asks Haruna if she had anything to eat, but she's too focused on her computer. Kanra has banned the spammer and wonders if the slasher is part of the dollars, since hearing about them getting some of the yellow scarves members. Kida notes that even if some things seem unrelated, they might be in some unknown way holding twisted knowledge that would be difficult to understand. We're moving on to episode 6, as we got two vans speeding down that black road. Saburo's group give chase with his reckless driving skills. He take the staircase and everything. Walker and Erika are excited to be part of the dollars, with Erika revoking her bludgeoning angel Dokuro-chan reference. The other van is the kidnapper group, and they think they've escaped by turning it into a narrow alley, but Saburo is crazy enough to take the road less travelled. The staircase. Causing the kidnappers to wipe out with a glancing blow, Kohei catches Jacket Guy trying to climb a fence, and asks why their group is in cahoots with the people experimenting on human livestock. Kohei is the narrator for the story of the Castano incident, which started 8 hours earlier. Mikaya shares in the classroom about Mika's disappearance, sparking Kanra to mention that many people have been going missing as of late, mostly from the groups of kids or illegal aliens. However, Kanra takes it further by saying people believe the dollars are cannibals, eating the people they kidnap. Meanwhile, the kidnappers rock up to a place with lots of illegal aliens with metal pipes. Let's just hope they don't drop them all at once. They figured they could take the Angel Girls, but to avoid the wrath of Celti, they instead decided to take Castano. Castano tries to pass as Japanese, but he still needs to work on it. Along with losers and wait for a window escape. Erika and Walker have a discussion about Cuticle Detective Inaba. I completely forgot about that reference. No, it would be a green one. Where Walker says he wants a sister character, either younger or older. So you just want a sister. They're there to grab Kohei for dinner time, amazed at his tiling skills, having tiled an entire bathroom on his own. Kohei suddenly receives a message from Castano saying, "The plate broke." And Erika correctly interprets it as him getting kidnapped, only for Saburo to write it off as her overthinking. Yes, that is definitely overthinking. Especially with the guy that doesn't speak English or Japanese that well. In the struggle inside the van, Castano ends up knocking the chloroform out of Hoodie Guy's hand, which is from Hatayama Chemicals. And it ends up knocking out the guys and the kidnappers. At Russian Sushi, Henri is a bit down at the possibility that Miko was abducted and disposed of. Someone overheard their conversation and keeps the cannibalism topic going while serving them their nigiri. So Kida and Mikado lie about the banner out front being broken. The spilled bottle of chloroform makes everyone in the kidnapper van drowsy, almost hitting Shizuo and his friend in the process. Castado manages to convince the kidnappers to leave Hoodie Guy behind due to their tiredness equaling more persuasive. Which also leaves behind Castano's phone for someone to find. Heading to Castano's place, they find it ruined and realize he actually was kidnapped. It's like, damn, you really messed up on that one. Causing Saburo to crash out over his disappearance. Kohei says Castano hasn't been missing too long, and as luck has it, the kid outside the building, Hazim, remembers the kidnapper's license plate. I did not include Hazim in the roll call because this is like his only appearance in the episode. Shinra gets a job offer for Celti to save Castano from the kidnappers, getting the license plate down for her to track down. The lady of the company behind the contract kidnappers is annoyed with the lack of shipments throughout the month, saying to cut contractors not meeting quota. Also, she knows Seiji in some way, and has some connection to someone's head in a jar that looks just like Mika's. There's a lot here. A lot to unpack in just that one sentence. And Celti goes to check the license plate number Shinra gave her, but he accidentally gave her the grocery list. It's like, you failed spectacularly. Kohei's worried he'll never get to hear Castano's ticket catchphrase ever again, as Castano worked as a ticket seller. It's through Castano's tickets that got him a seat close to his goddess. Oh no, it's not Kohei, it should be Saburo. Yeah. Yeah, it's that Saburo got close to his goddess, Ruri Regime. His goddess, Ruri Hijiribe in a crowded concert. Kohei's narration is called out by Erika and Walker because he's doing it in person before they give the idea to call Castono again. Izzy just happens to find Hoodie Guy sleeping and answers the phone when Kohei calls, able to say he's near the southern Ikebukuro Taishoken before having to run from Shizuo again. Unable to wake Hoodie Guy Kanazawa, Kohei shakes him down for his phone and impersonates him to along the drop-off area. Having gotten the information out of the kidnappers, they celebrate their victory as Kanazawa wakes up and learns they are part of the dollars before being knocked out by Subaru. Kohei doesn't understand why he's a great person to hang out with, but his friends are great people. One day, Kohei received a random mail asking if he wanted to be part of the dollars. No need to do anything special other than say, I'm part of the dollars. By the way, the password to the dollars webpage is Bakuno, which is a nice little nod again to Bakuno. And it's unclear who the leader of the dollars is, but Kohei thinks it's Izaya, which not the worst guess in the world. Shinra has just realized his mistake at the supermarket, so the first people to find the kidnappers is Saburo's group, quickly followed by Celti's lucky timing. The kidnappers release Castano from his handcuffs before speeding away, leading to the chase that started the episode. Celti is just left behind to find the dog. Saburo got to help him find the handoff location as well. I love that. It's like they used the dog to find the location, and then the dog did end up being that helpful. It just happens to be around. After the chase, Walker and Erika want to torture Jacket Guy, making him choose which torture he gets based on which book he chooses, which includes Bludgeoning Angel Doroko-chan and Ladies vs. Butlers. Letting them do the torturing, Saburo, Kohei, and Castano do their morning ritual milk chugging. Jacket Guy breaks and tells them to go to Yagiri Pharmaceuticals, which is run by Seji's sister, of all characters. Unsure to believe him because of how fancy the place is. Meanwhile, the episode ends showing some posters of Darker Than Black, Le Portrait de la Petite, Darker Than Black, Le Portrait de Petite Cosette, and others already mentioned being shown at a cinema. Shizuo, moving into episode 7, Shizuo gets irritated with someone complaining about being fired from his job and told to move out of his dorm, blaming it on the government. Also, this guy decided to put himself out for a waitress named Mint, thinking they were in love, despite not even knowing her number. Oh. Out of frustration over the man's words, Shizuo stops his yapping with a stop sign, launching the guy like a missile down the street. It's like, oh, you really don't want to make Shizuo angry. But rather interestingly, Shizuo hates violence. But as we just saw, he uses violence. Wait, no, it's supposed to go there. I don't know which way my hair's supposed to go. Over in the chat room, Kara brings up Shizuo to say that he's been going out of control recently, trying to build up a negative light on him. Salon sets about calming the situation, saying they can't judge someone based on only rumors, which makes Kara jokingly say Seton is similar to Shizuo. Shizuo's friend says he can't collect money if he keeps knocking those that owe money. Knocking out those that owe money. And this job isn't held by the human traffickers. The slasher also isn't helping the business prosper, but Shizuo does see them when no one else does. Walking by Russian Sushi, someone says hello to Shizuo and Tom Tanaka, who is actually Shizuo's employer. Shizuo completely ignores Simon, and Tom says to Simon that it's like he's in his rebellious stage. He even ignores Kohei, who doesn't care he was ignored, only to stop and look at the posters of a cinema, with one annoying him in particular because it's his younger brother, Kasuga Hiwajima. Shuji takes the moment to introduce himself to Shizuo, talking about Kasuga's first film, Vampire Ninjas Camilla the Joker, and how Kasuga does his own stunts too, finally asking if Shizuo trained him. Shizuo's answer is to knock Shuji out with a lamppost, and reinstates he truly hates violence. But even as a kid, he got annoyed over something trivial with Kasuga picking up the fridge and trying to throw it at him. But the fridge plug stopped him. It's like, he's a little kid picking up an entire fridge. If you've ever tried to pick up a fridge by yourself, it's impossible. This then led into throwing a desk at two students who said his butt smelled like a shamisen, which is a string traditional instrument that used to be made with cat, dog, or snake skin back in the day. Did we keep the fur on for the cat or the dog? Or was it completely shaved before it was used? Valid question, really. More incidents start happening with people getting thrown and his own bones breaking every time. It gets to the point that Shizuo is hospitalized and Shinra is amazed by how Shizuo's brain explodes with energy every time these incidents happen, wanting to examine his body just once. Shizuo ends up giving up trying to control his outbursts, constantly setting stuff from the mundane box to whole cars and moving trucks flying. Even the occasional innocent dog. That's a bit rough, you could say. However, one lady was always kind to Shizuo and Kasuga, giving them milk so they can grow stronger. Until she got harassed one time, causing Shizuo to snap and accidentally injure the lady in the process of stopping the harassment. Shinra and Shizuo end up going to Durarara Academy together, with Shinra still wanting to do experiments on Shizuo. Turning his attention to Celti, Shinra asks if she was looking for a head, and she starts jabbing him in the solar plexus, confusing Shizuo on their relationship. While Celti has him in the headlock, Shinra introduces Shizuo to her, saying she'll be his future wife, which, that would be weird. That's a weird relationship. This is also around the time he met Izia for the first time, hating him immediately, but unable to hit him due to Izia's nimble movement, allowing him to draw first blood. Shizuo seems unable to hit him no matter what, with Izia getting him nailed by Truck-kun. Thanks to Shinra being friends with both Izia and Shizuo, Celty has to stop Shizuo from whacking Izia with a metal door. Yikes. Just a full-on metal door to the face. Things kept getting worse for Shizuo, with constant random attacks from random people he didn't know, all orchestrated by Izia. Somehow graduating from Durarara, Shinra became the black market doctor he is now, and Izia was working with the Yakuza, and Shizuo could never hold down a job due to his outbursts. One day, Kasuga showed up at his bartender job with uniforms for Shizuo, wanting him to stop changing jobs so often. However, it wasn't meant to be, as Izia showed up with the police and had him arrested, framed for something he didn't do. The moment he was released from the police station, Tom happened to be present with a job offer as a debt collector bodyguard, even if he struggled at first. It's been a while since Shizuo had seen his brother, when Kasuga suddenly shows up in Ikebukuro to film his next movie. Chatting with yet another person that owes debt that conveniently doesn't have the money. They believe Shizuo to be a butler and spitting their drink on him. You made a big mistake. Tom steps away, knowing Shizuo is about to throw something or someone, and he does, tossing the debtors around and destroying the game. Shizuo's goal is not to engage in violence, but instead be strong enough to handle his rage, and talking to Celty does help with that. Despite wanting to put distance between himself and strangers, Shizuo tries to connect with Tom or Kasuga so he's not alone, and note that he and Celty are similar. Walking back the way he came, Kahe is surprised to see a different expression on Shizuo, and he tells Simon he'll eat sushi another time, enjoying the sights of the city. That's until he sees Izia again, who vanishes behind the speeding truck when Shizuo reacts, and screams Izia's name when he finds him missing. Just vanishing tricks. That is what Izia excels in. Moving into episode 8. Open our episode with the chat room. The conversation is actually normal for once, talking about losing important items and winning the lottery. Narration duties have been handed over to Celty this time, as she talks about her cloudy memory and sense of time. Celty has a recurring dream about her head being sliced up by someone else when she tries to grab the jar it's in. Although, how would she know that it's in a jar? That's the real question. The next morning, Shinra runs in excited to hang out with Celty on her day off, only to realize something is up with her. She asks if Dreamy can help her with putting her memories in order, but Shinra doesn't know before saying stuff he does know about dreams. Celty is glad that Shinra lets her live with him, and it helps her work as a courier, the basic knowledge of him being a black market doctor. Shinra is uncertain about Celty's memories being in her head, but she's certain they are. Excited for Celty's day off work, Shinra turns off his phone and the modem to take a day off with her. However, Celty doesn't want to go anywhere and wants to make Shinra some food as thanks for Shinra's hospitality. Replugging in the modem, Celty looks up recipes to try cooking. Over at the Durarara school, Kita helps Mikado with something that's likely homework since Mikado slept in. Yeah, the old classic teenage sleeping in. Kida sees it as an opportunity for Mikado to score a girl, and notices Mikado really slept in by the lack of necktie and possibly wallet, which seems to be true. Out on the streets, Erica has lost Walker and asks Simon for help, noting that it's the first day that Gengeki's pocket edition of Excel World goes on sale. They bought some and separated after some tea, but the maid at the cafe came out with Walker's phone. A blonde lady shows up with a sign that says, "Things people look for," asking to know what Erica is looking for. While writing Walker's name, Walker had returned to the cafe looking for his phone. So if Erica just waited at the cafe, she would have found him. Kahei is off spying on Yagiri Pharmaceuticals, thinking about the rumors that the company is involved with the Owakuzu Association and the North American firm Nebula. Not to be confused with anything else that uses the name Nebula, like the type of stars, like a nebula cluster. Heading back to the van, some random guy decides to attack the Yagiri building with firecrackers, of all things. Walker is in the process of tracking down Erica, but the story is brought back to Celty getting groceries to cook for Shinra. He enjoys Celty's cooking to the point of crying, which confuses Celty, thinking something is off, but Shinra insists the cooking is just original and unique like her. Upset with her cooking, Celty encases the remaining food in a black ball, which makes Shinra curious about how she tastes food. Trying to get her mind off the food, Shinra wants to play a game with Celty, but she's too focused on her head, worried she won't be able to remember her own face soon. Shinra is left waiting for Celty with the black ball, answering the door to a businessman from one of the companies he's done work for. Mikado gets his shoe back over at the school. Mikado gets his shoes from his shoe locker and only finds her shoes have been stolen. Kida says this has happened again, knowing who might be behind the footwear theft, running off to find them. Searching the classrooms and in bins, Henri says Kida's been acting differently and finds it kind of scary. Henri asks Mikado about when she was little. Henri tells Mikado about when she was little and lost a lot of stuff, crying about how it's gone to her mum. Feeling embarrassed about having shared something about herself, Henri rushes home, thanking Mikado for his help trying to find the shoes. Mikado continues searching for Henri's shoes and calls Key to search off for the culprit, seeing them on the schoolyard. Celty has met up with Shizuo to look at a vacant lot, trying to remember what was there. She remembers a tall, thin blue building that used to be in the vacant lot, and Shizuo remembers that a lady used to sell cigarettes on the first floor. Celty does sense that her head is somewhere in Ikebukuro. Mikado ends up coming across the blonde lady from earlier, taking a look at what was written in a notebook. Seeing answers of people, pets, and work, along with Erica's note for Walker and Celty's note of her head, before writing his own note. Celty returns to Shinra's apartment to find him gone, thinking he went to work, but sensing something was off. Meanwhile, Shinra has been brought to Yagiri Pharmaceuticals to treat the firework guy because his girlfriend remembered the place from her abduction. The Yagiri businessman requests that Shinra erases the firework guy's memories of the company and says thanks for his help, keeping his secret in turn. Celty seems to have forgotten about her head and the hundreds of years of memories as a dull hand at one point while riding her bike. She ends up finding Shinra, who invites her to dinner at Russian sushi, even if she doesn't eat. Russian sushi certainly has some unique ingredients, like sour cream, borscht, and cheese. Opening their fortune cookies for dessert, Celty says she'll find what she's looking for, which gets her eager to continue searching. Shinra's is unrequited love, but when asked by Celty, he eats his fortune and lies that his fortune cookie didn't have one, even though he just ate it right in front of her. Erica and Walker find each other and they dance together, happy to have found each other. And the blonde lady reads Mikado's note of wanting to find connections. Mikado finds Ari's place to return her shoes, only to get a thank you and a cold shutout. It's like, okay. Seiji and Mika, I put Mika in quotation marks, hide out in a skyscraper away from any prying eyes, and he tells her she doesn't need to remember anything, calling her Celty. The real Celty has a dream from when she had her head with her and the same head as the other Celty. Continuing, we're at episode 9 already. These episodes are going to be so long. The business owner of Yagiri Pharmaceuticals calls everyone fakes in her narration. Oh, so yeah, we've moved on to episode 9. That people share emotions to tie others down. She sees her love as a broader, more complete thing compared to everyone else. Seiji offers to get Miko a drink from a vending machine, which gives her enough time to toss Seiji's cell phone in the water fountain. In her office, she gets annoyed at her employees' failure to find Seiji and Mika, but apparently Seiji changed locations in the middle of the night. She expresses her annoyance by saying she was still about to reach Seiji on his cell phone at 7 p.m. Her narration continues to talk about a doll her uncle brought her on one of his overseas trips, and that she didn't like dolls when she was young. In the flashback about her dislike of dolls, it's revealed that she is Seiji's sister and that they were constantly alone. Entering her uncle's office, she sees Celty's head for the first time, knowing he would gaze at it randomly as if in a trance. She found Celty's head more mesmerizing than any doll she was given, having the feeling it isn't mysterious or cruel, just as its own creature. Introducing Seiji to Celty's head, he immediately fell in love with it. And that's how everything started, with her regretting it. Meeting with Izia, he asks if the list of illegal immigrants proved useful to her, saying her full name of Nami Yagiri. Nami asks for his help finding her brother, saying it's an emergency, and willing to pay as much as necessary. Izia is very unmotivated to help, since such little time has passed, and is more curious about the rumours about her company. When asked what Izia knows about, he reveals that he knows the history of her company, how her father owned it before giving it to her uncle, She turns his knowledge on him, saying it would be easy to search for Seiji, but he calls her out as a stalker, only to say he was joking. It's like, okay, calm down, I was joking. It does seem that Nami is jealous that Seiji found someone to be with, recalling that Seiji started to get stranger, staring at Celti's head more often. Trying to get his mind off of Celti's head, Nami requested with her uncle to move it as soon as she entered the company, making it a research subject. That exact moment is when the Nebula Company began contacting her company, and the stress of preventing information leaks got to her, leading to her security card being stolen, followed by Celti's head. At the same time, Seiji calls Nami to say he might have killed someone, asking her for advice. In his place, Seiji eats cup noodles while revealing he stole Celti's head, and his stalker, Mika, saw the head too. So Seiji slammed her head into a wall and killed her. Izzy finds them quickly, saying that the police will be picking them up soon, perfectly timed with a phone call about them. Mika gets a message that she and Seiji are still being pursued, pulling Seiji from his seat and saying that she's scared, wanting to get far away. Celti and Shizuo see Mika and Seiji struggling against each other, and when Mika runs away, Celti notices the scar on her neck. Catching up to Mika, she suddenly starts screaming from a stranger grabbing her, getting everyone's attention. Seiji comes to Mika's aid, stabbing Shizuo with pens in his legs. Good old pen poisoning technique, huh? Giving Shizuo the chance to say, "Leave this to me and go on ahead." Celti chases Mika on a bike, and Mika just suddenly crashed into Mikado. Seeing Celti chasing after Mika, he grabs her hand to help her get away from Celti. Seiji is also trying to chase Celti and Mika, but Shizuo casually picks him up by the collar and tosses him for a bad answer of not knowing why she looks how she does. Mikado and Mika escape into the train system, while Seiji tries to stab Shizuo in the head with his last pen, only to give him stigmata and receive a headbutt. That night, Celti tells Shinra about her head on another's body situation, and somehow he believes her? Shizuo just happened to pass by while she was waiting in the park on her job from Izuka, so that's why they were talking earlier. Celti's first question is why her head is on someone else's body. And Shinra's answer is that her head detected a similar build to Celti in Mika and attached itself to her. Take it further to say that Mika was dead when Celti's head found her body. That's creepy. However, it seems to be the case, but more from a medical perspective and not mystical. Seiji is still wrecked from accidentally killing Mika, but Nami is so focused on her love for Seiji, and that Seiji's love uses her love for him as a stepping stone. Both Nami and Celti's focus is solely on Durarara Academy in the search for Celti's head. Shinra asks the hard-hitting question about what Celti will do about a head that's now attached to a person. Nami asks Seiji what happened to his cell phone, but he doesn't know. Even though Seiji wants to be with his Celti, Nami doesn't care if she's dead or not, and depending on the situation, to dispose of her. Mikado has brought Mika back to the safety of his small apartment, messaging Nakura, who is Izia, and he's excited to see how things play out in the town that continuously has things appear and disappear. Finally getting some answers from Mika, she says she doesn't remember anything, but is adamant about not going to the police or the hospital. Interesting. My throat is getting a bit dry now. Moving on to episode 10 though, we're getting close. Mikado is disappointed with his tight budget for the month, unable to get some chips in lieu of needing a kitchen sponge. Hearing the black bike, he races to the source of the sound, where he crashes into Mika. Seeing that Salty is after Mika, his kind heart makes him take Mika's hand and run for the nearest train station. Mikado tells Kita all about this, but isn't believed by Kita, who says it would be better if it made Mikado late for school, or if she was a transfer student or a queen and his childhood friend, which I feel like is some sort of references to anime that I don't know. He told Kita of his situation to ask for advice on what to do with Mika's lack of memory and inability to contact the police. Kita figures they'll have to wait until tomorrow to ask Mika about her situation, leaving Mikado to worry about Salty remembering his face. He also doesn't tell Kita about the wound on Mika's neck, how it looks like someone lopped her head off and reattached it. At school, Mika is loud about Mikado's new roommate, garnering Mikado a lot of attention over him being with a girl. But when Kita oversells the story, everyone thinks it's just a dream Mikado has been having. That's one way to ruin everything. Kita's current focus is to figure out who in the school is in the dollars, considering how mysterious the group is, by making students vote on who they think are in the dollars. Mikado notes that there's only one vote for Ro Takiguchi from Class 1D, and that's from Kita based only on intuition. Kita is straight to searching for Ro, and his investigation leads him to the roof, discovering that Ro writes songs. Directly asking if Ro is in the dollars, Mikado is surprised by the honest answer that Ro is in fact in the dollars. When Mikado mentions his name to Ro notes that his name is famous, offering him some chips. Asking why Ro joined the dollars, he has difficulty answering the question, saying he got an invite from a random person. Ross states that the dollars are clearly colourless, as they don't bother trying to get members to wear the same colours or deal in power struggles. According to Ross, the Blue Squares gang caused an incident and broke up, and he rarely meets other members of the dollars, only knowing their handles or having met them at his part-time job or around town. With the dollar stuff handled for now, Mikado focuses his attention on Henri's focus on Mika. A student lets Mikado know to head home without Kita due to him being in a heated debate with the disciplinary committee, all the while Mr. Nozujima watches as the creep he is. Kita gets one last call out to Mikado about Mika, the mysterious girl, which Mikado lies about to Henri. Henri reveals she knows about Mikado a long time ago, seeing his name on a checklist when handing in her matriculation forms. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. Mikado notes the similarities between what is unfolding in front of him and what happened between Mika and Seiji, not wanting a stalker. I'm worried about what she might do to him, but Ari says she's joking about stalking him. It's like, whew, don't make those type of jokes. And don't make them so easily. Mikado is suddenly confronted by Kyoko with her new partner Takeshi over the attack Izaya did against her phone. Takeshi gets in Mikado's face, trying to learn more about Izaya. When Celty shows up to roundhouse kick Takeshi to the floor, and then Izaya bounces to bounces Takeshi back. I don't know why I had the apostrophe S's on those. Both Celty and Izaya are there to talk to Mikado at the same time, so he excuses himself from Ari to talk to them privately. Celty goes first, with Mikado asking who she is, but she ignores the question to focus on Mika, lying about her being the daughter of one of her relatives. Mikado knows she's lying, calling her out, so she goes back to the information about her, asking what he knows. The information he does know is that Celty is considered an urban legend, and that there's a rumor she has no head. He asks to see inside her helmet to confirm if she has no head, to which she obliges, asking him not to scream, lifting her visor to revealing her lack of head. Which I am going to make sure I do have the visor as well for the helmet. With all that out of the way, Celty shares the real reason why she was chasing Mika and her history and name. Everything Celty tells him seems unbelievable, but Mikado believes every word she says, and Celty asks if he could see, if she could see Mika, but because of that sudden chase yesterday, Mika's afraid of Celty. So she asks if Mikado can help with clearing up the misunderstanding, and he agrees to do so. Meanwhile, Saburo is enjoying a bowl of fruit milk while Erika and Walker argue about which character is going to be the main character of Taru Maju Index, or a certain magical index. Each with their own own copy of the Volume 1 manga, placed in this episode around November 10th, 2007. Saburo suddenly gets a small dent from a passing van, chasing the van down and blowing red lights, because Saburo gets angry if someone damages his precious fan. Back with Mikado at his place, he tries to talk Mika into talking with Celty. However, Mika is gone and he's attacked by some people hiding in this place. Celty gets annoyed with Izaya throwing pebbles at her horse, which he roasts for being slow. Her attention is brought to a cleaning crew van though, realizing Mikado might be in trouble. The cleaning crew threaten to kill Mikado, only to be saved by Izaya busting down his door, telling Celty not to waste time chasing them, knowing they're most likely from Nigiri Pharmaceuticals. Putting everything together, Mikado shows he's part of the dollars, asking for Celty and Izaya's cooperation. What is Mikado gonna do? We'll find out right now as we go into episode 11. On the night of a blood moon, Seji's obsession with Celti infects his narration, saying he's the only one that can find her after Nami's team failed. Nami's direct underling mentions that they were asking him questions and were planning to bring him into pharmaceuticals, but got interrupted by his companions. Yeah, that's Mikado. She receives a call directly from Mikado asking to make a deal with her. Celti watches over the street from the rooftops, while down on the street, people get impatient, checking their watches. Shizuo is also near Russian sushi, talking to someone about an adult Yakuza who had beaten up recently, before getting in a tussle over a motorbike. Celti wonders if she has changed in the 20 years in Ikebukuro, remembering what Tsunoda said about her years not being in vain, and his ask of marriage. I bet you Celti would rock a black wedding dress. Nami meets with Mikado with her workers to protect her, and he immediately notices the workers. Like, they're not even really hiding that well. Getting straight to the deal, Mikado states he has Mika, and she goes into money negotiations, but he only wants the truth about Mika's death and head transplant. She just laughs at Mikado's request for her to hand herself into the police, revealing how people who get in her brother's way shouldn't exist. So now both sides know the type of person the other is. Seiji is eager to get out of his room, asking where his sister is and wanting to go find Celti. Oh, so it is Seiji that they brought in. Confident with his knowledge of Nami's character, Mikado says she's making Seiji miserable with her complacence. Well, she just tells him to shut up if that's all he has to say. Nami says he watches too many dramas, that those things are just promises, and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz's pre-established harmony compared to reality. Mikado insists he wants a happy ending, even if he has to force one to happen. Pulling out his phone to send a message to the dollars, he does like a full-on BAM! At first, nothing happens, but people around them suddenly start getting the message from Mikado. Saburo's group also appears on the scene, and Erika makes a reference to Missing, a 2001 supernatural light novel series. Erika and Walker's message tones are also references to Black Butler and Hellgirl, respectively. Turns out that Mika ended up with Saburo's group after leaving Mikado's place, with Kohei delivering her to Celti. Meanwhile, in the crowd, even Isaac, Diane, and Maria Harvant from Bakuno are part of the dollars. And I was surprised by the volume of them as well. Going into Mikado's history, his hometown used to be filled with adventure when he was younger, replaced with the empty feeling in his teen years. Hello, damn. We're doing a stream at the moment. By the way, I've got this. I've got a whole helmet. It's not complete though. It's not complete yet. It's not complete yet. I don't really want to wear it to cons. I was just making it for this podcast. But because I still have to do the paint on it. Oh, I still have to get the ears correct and then the paint. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to the notes because I want to try and get this done in under the few hours I have for today. At the moment, we're in Mikado's backstory and how he got his first computer, teaching himself how to use it, and exploring the internet, getting in touch with Kida again. One day he got the idea to create his own group, having heard about the different groups in Tokyo originally being a joke. This set off the creation of the dollars, making up the story that they heard it from someone else to spread them all throughout Ikebukuro, all while hiding that Mikado created the dollars in the first place. Mikado even made the group's site, leaking the password via emails and other message boards, and fabricated member posts on those message boards. Things took a turn for the real when random people started calling themselves dollars in Ikebukuro, and the group kept growing without the password being shared by them. The people Mikado created the dollars with also just vanished, they disappeared. So he continued on his own to monitor the site. Wanting them to be good people, he messaged people under his pseudonym to do stuff like erase graffiti and pick up trash, only to be called a brat. It's like, I love how ironic it is that he's been called a brat, but he's the one that's made the entire thing. It's like, however, the next morning, Mikado was surprised to see the news reporting about graffiti being removed by someone late at night. So someone actually did what he said. Heading to Ikebukuro on Kida's invitation, Mikado took his time to learn as much about what the dollars have become, hearing a lot of negativity about them. Even beyond the characters Mikado has met, random people are proud to be part of the dollars, with some gaining relationships and others knowing someone always replies to their posts. Someone mentions how the dollars save some people from human traffickers, but others just join the dollars for fun. Izia is also fun this mass of the dollars fun, reading Mikado's words to glare silently at someone now looking at their cell phone as a form of not looking at their cell phone as a form of psychological warfare. Erica is curious about where the founder of the dollars is from, looking for an Arabian oil tycoon in the crowd. That's funny. In a sudden cutaway, Saburo actually almost ran over Mika mid-crossing the road after running a red light. Walker sent a message on the dollar's site and got a message from Mikado asking for details, organising the meeting between Celty and Mika. At the meeting, when Celty asks Mika her name, she gets the response of Celty. With no reaction, Celty runs and jumps on her bike, ready to attack Nami by riding down the side of the building. Landing in the street, Celty decides to embrace her inner monster, taking Nami's lackeys down with ease. One lackey does knock off Celty's helmet, revealing her secret lack of head to everyone, leading to the ultimate simultaneous moment of everyone taking photos before running in fear. It's like, culture be like, photos, go! Seiji arrives on the scene to attack Mikado for taking his Celty. Just don't get salty over Celty. The real Seti blocks Seiji's puny switchblade with her body to protect Mikado, and then the moment Seiji thanks Mikado for saving Celti from Nami, the fake Celti from Nami. Seiji asks Mikado to return fake Celti to him, while making himself sound like the stalker to Mika, while talking about wanting Celti's head to be free and explore the world. In Seiji's eyes, no one can stop his love for Celti, fake Celti, saying that Mikado only relied on strength in numbers. Celti uses her helmet to defend against Seiji's blade, but when that doesn't work, she summons her scythe. She comes close to killing him, only to stop when Mika yells out to stop and defend Seiji. During Mika's pleas in defending Seiji, Celti and Mikado realize something at the same time. That head on Mika's shoulders is Mika's, not Celti's. She won't deny that Mika died, because of course she didn't. For her, it started as a normal night of stalking Seiji and B&E, talking about how she fell in love at first sight during the entrance exam. Upon seeing the head, Seiji takes extreme action to silence her by slamming her head full force into the wall. And I think it was like multiple times as well. However, she didn't die. And with help from Nami and Shinra, they gave Mika cosmetic surgery to transform her head into Celti's. Nami followed up the complete transformation of Mika into Celti with surgery and medication to make her memory of Mika disappear. Celti storms off after learning about Shinra's involvement in the obscuring of the location of her head. Izzy weasels into the moment to roast Seiji for being unable to tell the difference between Celti's head and her look-alike. Mikado also provides his insight to the mess, saying Mika is not a stalker, just someone with personality issues, or because she put herself in harm's way, making her similar to Seiji. Back at Shinra's apartment, Shinra calmly states he knows what Celti is going to ask, all while held up by his collar. Apparently, Shinra doesn't know who really stole Celti's head, and the whole Mika with Celti's head idea was from Nami, with Mika agreeing. Celti asks why he kept quiet about the location of her head, and his answer is because he loves her. He's willing to exploit everyone around him just to be with Celti, even if that means she won't be happy. She said she wouldn't leave him after getting her head back, but Shinra says that her head might want to leave, that she might disappear in a puff of smoke. Celti confides in Shinra that she's afraid of dying, even though no one in Ikebukuro could kill her. But if her head is destroyed, she could die. Requesting to let her punch him once, Celti takes no time in punching him into the window without breaking it. Shinra is also allowed one punch, knocking her helmet clean off, before saying that was their substitute for a marriage kiss, owning him a gut punch. Izzy watches as Mika helps Seiji leave the scene, and Kohei approaches him to talk, where he reveals the reason behind the dollar's name is because they do nothing, going Durarara, which sounds like the English word for dollar. Erika and Walker don't truly believe that Celti is a headless being, and Izzy riles them up by saying that she's in the dollars too. Heading over to Mikado, Izzy surprised by how many dollars members came to an impromptu meeting. Izzy notes that Mikado has a dream about escaping everyday life, but after 6 months in Tokyo, Mikado's life will become routine again. He also adds that for Mikado to reach non-everyday life, Mikado would have to move or dive deeper into the underground of Ikebukuro. But even that will feel routine too. With respect for Mikado's actions, Izaya expects no payments for Nami's phone number, and he'll keep Mikado's secret as the founder of the dollars. This time, expecting a flying object, Izaya steps behind Mikado as it flies by, and he leaves to escape Shizuo. And while he's leaving, he calls Mikado Taro Tanaka, allowing Mikado to piece together that he's Kanra. The next day, everything seemingly goes back to normal for everyone, with Kita expressing shock for Simon and Shizuo being part of the dollars, and that the black biker actually has no head, and her actions. Seiji no longer loves the fake Celty visage, but still accepts her love for him until he gets the real Celty's head back. In the evening, Taro and Seton get to talking, Mikado lying about pulling an all-nighter to hide his true identity. Seton, who is Celty, is interrupted by Shinra, who has an urgent job for her, and while out, she runs into Izaya, who talks about what happened and that no one is afraid of her anymore. But she's just glad to be herself, head or no head. That nothing has changed in her day-to-day life. Mikado is left to think about Izaya's words of chasing an impossible reality for eternity, when Seiji and Mika show up for school, with Mika taking the seat next to Seiji. Anri sees this, knowing it will change her interactions with Mika forever, not knowing if that's a good thing or not. Watching Anri leave the classroom, Mikado builds up the courage to ask Anri, only to see Kita flirting with her and kicking him, just deciding to eat with her. Nami is currently with Izaya, with him chastising her for one mistake she made out of twisted love for her brother. Working with Izaya! Izaya also notes that Nami is in trouble with her merger with Nebula. During the meeting, Celty and Mikado. During the meeting between Celty and Mikado, Izaya called one of his workers to learn of the cleaning crew guys, Yagiri's pharmaceutical users. Right after that call, he called Mika to tell her to leave Mikado's apartment. He compares himself to Nai's uncle, also believing that the world can't have a double checkmate. Moving on to the topic of dollar hands, Izaya states that people say they're all females before changing to the topic of Valhalla and Valkyries, tying it back to dollar hands and the theory they are Valkyries wandering the earth. Picking up Celty's head, Izaya mentions it's not awake since Ikebukuro isn't a battlefield, that he wants to be picked as a soldier. Since he wouldn't be able to prove himself in an actual war, he'll create his own war to do so. Izaya takes ownership of Celty's head as part of the dollars to hide it from Celty as an insurance policy to not spill the beans on Nami. He also suggests that Nami joins the dollars, revealing he's been doing the recruiting behind Mikado's back. Oh, that troublemaker. We still have one more episode to go. But this is an OVA episode, so it will not matter in terms of canonicity. Well, it is canon, but it doesn't matter to the plot. We have our narrator, Walker, saying that this episode is a story from a novel he wrote once. A story of a battle between aliens and people with superpowers behind everyday life. Saburo is destroyed at the damage on his van, and he apparently got a ticket earlier too. The van group suddenly sees some neon lights float across the sky, and Walker believes it's a UFO. At this time, Mikado, Kida, and Ari are hanging out in the playground, and Maria and Isaac also see the neon lights, believing them to be Japanese disembodied souls, and Celty freaks out about the lights being aliens. Will they be right or will they be wrong? Half an hour earlier, the police respond to an incident where Jin's partner attacked a guy with a bottle for telling her to break up with Jin. Somewhere else, Celty has a red bag for a delivery job and is being chased by some cars of multiple groups. Jin's partner is at the police box answering their questions and telling her story of wanting to be a hairdresser. Mikado, Kida, and Anri show up with another red bag to hand to the police as lost, but it turns out to be Jin's bag. So convenient. Walker's narration mentions that the protagonist of his story is a beautiful woman who rides a motorbike, matching Celty, and that she's carrying an ultimate weapon developed from alien technology, with two separate organizations chasing her down. The chase ends up at a warehouse where Celty is cornered. However, we have rewired the clock back 1 hour to 9 PM. Where Mikado, Kida, and Ari ended up at a maid cafe, ending up with the bunny ears, the X marks, and cat ears, respectively. Also, at this time, Celty accepts the red bag. Neither she nor the other bag holder knows what's in it, but the guy says it might have a severed head in it. Okay. While riding to the delivery location, Celty is fired upon by a foreign organization. Kida says the things that make a summer festival one are the candied apples, fireworks, and beautiful girls in Yakuza. Arani is almost knocked down by someone on the run with a red bag, being chased by men in black suits. With Walker's narration calling him the professor that escaped with the ultimate weapon that gets backed into a corner, entrusting the weapons to a beautiful girl with superpowers before dying. Meanwhile, the van group has another red bag on the roof, with Erika Walker chanting, "Fentara, Fentara, space people, aliens, please respond to us," from Yurusei Yatsura. Saburo asks if the red bag has to be on the roof while they do this, and Walker says it's so the aliens know they dropped it. Erika mentions the UFO special that appeared on TV yesterday, which Kei said looked terrible. At that moment, Celty passes them, taking an offer to evade the foreign organization, who see the other red bag that's on the van's roof. The other members of the foreign organization open the runner's bag, only to find money. He goes to grab the money bag, but Izia snags the money before him. Back out on the highway, the van group are fired upon by the foreign organization, and Walker panically references the men in black. I gotta have that in my references. Seeing the wild chase, a traffic cop joins in and stops the chase, but not before the van group's red bag goes flying. The foreign organization's car ended up crashing a bit further down the highway, which led to the insane traffic jam that happens later. Yeah. So yeah, Celty was found by the foreign organization, and behind her is another Japanese organization. Mikado, Kita, and Henri leave the main street, find the red bag from the fan group, believing it's the bag from the guy. Walker's narration refers to them as high schoolers turned animals via human experimentations, which does not make any sense. Going up even earlier in the day at 7 p.m, a bag runner had seemingly stolen the red bag from his own company, making the excuse of needing the hospital for his bruises. Both the Japanese organization and the foreign organization contact Isekai'd to help with their searches for their items. Turns out that Kita tricks Henri into wearing a yukata for the summer festival, saying that it's an Ikebukuro tradition in an attempt for free stuff. It was also for Kita to emphasize Henri's banterful jest, even though she's deeply embarrassed by the trick. But it does lead them to the maid cafe, since Henri was mistaken for cosplaying Beauty. The bag runner is seemingly terrified of a monster that attacked him earlier, who just happens to be Shizuo, almost running into him again talking to Jin's partner. Running from Shizuo without him noticing, he ends up having to run from the foreign organization. Shizuo manages to keep his cool at Jin's partner's sob story. Going back to the start of our story at 4 p.m, the start of the story is finally reached, and it all started with Tom knocking on Jinriro's Maruoka's door. His wife Hanako, who will later attack that guy with a bottle, hands him a red bag with stuff for on the run. Unfortunately, Jin's escape is immediately foiled by Shizuo waiting at the base of the tree, who tries to shake him down. But when Jin insults Kasuka, Shizuo literally just goes with the tree, roots and all, and swings it like a baseball bat to send Jin flying through the sky. Because just the strength of Shizuo is just insane. The van group see Jin flying through the sky, with Walker thinking it's an alien, and his red bag lands on their van. Walker thinks the bag contains a humanity-destroying weapon, but it's only a bag full of clothes and onigiri. His narration notes the only difference from his story. What fell from the sky wasn't a beautiful girl. Shinra and Celty watched the UFO special from last night that she recorded for them to watch together. He's unbelieving of the special but Celty pulls on his face to make sure he's not an alien. Celty only watches the show to know her opponents to be able to handle them when they show up. She gets a call from Isekai'd about a job he describes as safe and easy, which devolved into her getting cornered in the warehouse. It's like, yeah, this wasn't safe or easy in any form. The two organizations cornering Celty know each other, actually, which is a surprise. And they both think the red bag in question is theirs. However, Celty is actually not cornered, as Haruya Shiki reveals he's there as well to deal with the other two groups. His group splashed the other groups with bioluminescent paint before turning off the lights and beating them up. the foreign organization back out of the fight immediately, and Celty hands over her red bag to Shiki, which contains a macrosynthesis of the Squamata order and lizard family, or the Cape Fern giant skink that was declared extinct in 1940. The foreign organization are just animal smugglers, but Mr. K tried to betray his group and sell it to the Tsunohazu group, so Izia and Shiki decided to strike first and lead Mr. K to their trap. Conveniently, the Japanese group that also showed up was the Tsunohazu group, planning to buy the giant skink. So technically it did belong to both of them, but it belonged to the foreign group first that were planning to sell it to the other group anyway. Izia asked Shiki not to snuff out the Tsunohazu group, using them to attack Shizuo for their money back. Ari was the one that wanted the three of them to spend time together for the summer festival, but Kita really turned it into a festival night. It turned it into the festival night they had. Shizuo unleashes his rage with permission from his boss, sending them flying out the window, leading to the reactions from the start of the episode. And Jin returns to his wife, who has his original red bag, and he's disappointed it's not the money bag. Yeah. Walker ends the episode by reading the short poem from his story. In other words, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Which is from Robert Browning's Pippa Passes, but if we're going to be in line with Walker and his obsession with anime, it's a reference to Nerve from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is on my list to watch, actually. Oh, my throat absolutely is killing me. But we've reached the end of the podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. For YouTube, links will be in the description to both the channels and to Twitch for you guys to go check out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know next video comes out. A ding. A ding. I'm Isekai'd, out.